here today is Samantha Bronze, who is a classroom assistant and a Unison member. And of course, the education support workers are still having to take industrial action because they still haven't had a cost of living pay rise in, well, Samantha can tell you all about it. Here she is.
I'm the Joint Branch Secretary of Unison Derry Education Branch. Can you all hear me okay? I'm a bit quieter than Derry. I'm here to represent our Unison Education support staff workers employed by the Education Authority who are still in industrial action for their pay and grading review promised since 2019. The review was not in the 22-23 budget, nor is it in the 24-25 budget, so we have been campaigning through Unison's petition. Members have been emailing their MLAs and emailing the Minister of Education, Paul Given, and joint union secretaries have regularly been meeting with the Education Committee and the Education Minister. At the invitation of the Education Minister, Education Support Service trade unions met this week with officials from his department. Led by the Deputy Permanent Secretary, the delegation also included senior management from the EA. It was confirmed that there is support at Northern Ireland executive level for a joint ministerial intervention with the UK Treasury to secure access to funds outside the Northern Ireland 24 budget to begin the delivery of the 5-year pay improvement plan outlined in the business case. While this is positive news, there is no guarantee that this plan will succeed. Unison have pushed for more detail and a Northern Ireland specific guarantee that any possible shortfall will be met. We are awaiting a response, but in the meantime, Unison's industrial action continues and will continue in the form of action short of strike. Almost 8,000 emails from our members have been received by all parties, and we have received responses from several local MLAs who support our campaign, but sadly not from them all. Now is the time they should get behind the demand on the UK Treasury to release funding and put their words into action. Our members are not prepared to keep waiting on what they have already been promised. They have been in action short of strike from October, with 2 days of strike action already held. Their action short of strike has now been extended until the end of the school year. The department failed to recognise that our education workers are the backbone within our schools, with many schools now having more classroom assistants than they have teachers. During the pandemic, education support staff worked with other key workers' children, however they were not recognised when COVID recognition payments were paid out. The goodwill of our members has been taken for granted for far too long, and it now stops. Our industrial action is having a massive impact in schools, subsequently showing how much we do over and above our job descriptions. Strike action is never an easy decision for any member, and not one they make very often. But they're reluctant to disrupt the children's education, but say enough is enough. They have no choice when they're finding it tough themselves to find a way to feed their own family and their children. Derry Trades held a public meeting recently this week with the Real Living Wage Foundation, which found that this city has been advertised as a low-paid economy for many years, and the Trades Council hope to campaign over the next few years to make Derry a real living wage city so everyone earns a minimum of £12 an hour. But we need these reforms in education urgently, as the current system doesn't properly value support services staff in education, staff who do a hugely important job in the education of every child. If we want the best for our children and young people, we need to value those who work with them in education. Support staff can no longer go on waiting and being taken advantage of. Our strike days on the 16th of November and the 18th of January clearly show that without them, then schools struggle to stay open. So we will continue to strike in the new academic year if we need to. And we want to send a strong message to our politicians that they must put pressure on the Tory government around the underfunding given to Northern Ireland. It won't be long until they're knocking on your door and my door, looking for their vote. And we'll be letting our members know exactly who is giving us their support. It's time the pay and grading review is implemented and paid out, and it's time that there's an end to our empty promises. Enough is enough.